My name is Ines Tofalo. I'm the Acting Chief of the Program Support Unit at the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our work on South-South fund management. Most South-South cooperation happens bilaterally or within regional or some regional groups. But at the UN Office for South-South Cooperation, we found that member states partnering with the United Nations system to implement South-South cooperation is something that can be very catalytic and have quite impactful development results. There are many synergies between the interests of member states or other actors wanting to engage in South-South cooperation and the comparative advantages of the UN system and its work across the globe with a network of more than 170 country offices present in developing countries, as well as the thematic focus of the various UN agencies. For this reason, the General Assembly, as well as member states that were particularly interested in establishing dedicated facilities, have entrusted the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation to manage 3 trust funds: the Perez Guerrero Trust Fund for South-South Cooperation, the India, Brazil, and South Africa Facility for Poverty and Hunger Alleviation, and the United Nations Fund for South-South Cooperation. The first one I mentioned, the Perez Guerrero Trust Fund for South-South Cooperation, also known as PGTF, is an endowment fund. Every year it distributes the interest of its endowment, that is around $7 million, as well as yearly contributions received from member states. To date, about 47 partners have contributed to PGTF, and it distributes about $35,000, which are matched by funds from the requesting institutions to implement projects that bring together at least 3 developing countries that are members of the Group of 77. We found that these projects can be quite catalytic at establishing linkages between Southern institutions that otherwise would not be collaborating. Many of these initiatives are about doing joint research, doing conferences, doing joint educational activities, and they are implemented across the globe. The second fund I mentioned, the India, Brazil, and South Africa Facility for Poverty and Hunger Alleviation, also known as IPSA Fund, brings together these 3 democratic, multi-ethnic, multicultural developing countries to implement projects in other developing countries. To date, India, Brazil, and South Africa have contributed about $34 million, and they have implemented or are implementing 27 projects across Africa, Asia, the Arab states, Latin America. IPSA has a very varied and rich portfolio. Its initiatives include youth employment, agricultural development, self-drinking water, health infrastructure, and it's a fund that has had many important results. The third fund I mentioned, the United Nations Fund for South-South Cooperation, also known as UNOSSC, is an umbrella fund. To date, 47 partners have contributed about $33 million to this fund, which facilitates innovative pilot initiatives by the United Nations Office for South-South Cooperation and other UN agencies implementing and unleashing South-South cooperation. Within the UN Fund for South-South Cooperation, there are a number of dedicated facilities that have their own governance, structure, and processes. For example, the Republic of Korea has established a facility focused on triangular cooperation on science and technology. The government of China is implementing global South-South cooperation projects. A project facility is enabling South-South collaboration between the Arab states as well as the Commonwealth of Independent States. And the government of India has very recently established a facility focusing mostly on small island developing states and least developed countries. To know more about these funds that are very exciting, I encourage you to visit their dedicated web pages and see the messages of the true owners and leaders of these trust funds. At UNOSSC, we are really behind-the-scene actors, but we are very proud to bring stakeholders together and to be the engine that enables an idea or a request to become a project, to become approved, to be implemented, and to have meaningful South-South cooperation as well as sustainable development results that we're happy to communicate to you.